The pride of Airman First Class Jack Harris wasn't a loud thing. It was quiet and solid, woven into the crispness of his uniform and the flawless completion of his tasks. He was a by-the-book man, and the book was his anchor. But a grueling desert deployment sandblasted something inside him, leaving a hollow core that only seemed to fill with the amber glow of whiskey. What began as a single beer after duty became 2, then 4, then a bottle. The anchor was dragging now, catching on the jagged edges of his own despair. His discipline, once his fortress, became a ruin. He was late for muster, his uniform sometimes carrying the faint, sour ghost of the previous night. The paperwork, once his masterpiece, was now sloppy and late. He saw the disappointment in his superior's eyes, a look that cut deeper than any reprimand. He tried to claw his way back, white-knuckling sobriety for a day or two, but the hollow core would ache and the bottle would whisper promises of numbness. His rock bottom was a silent, shameful awakening. He woke on his thin, government-issue mattress, the morning light a physical assault. His skull throbbed. His phone, screen cracked from some forgotten stumble, showed 17 missed calls from his squadron. A cold dread, far worse than the hangover, washed over him. He didn't shower. He pulled on a rumpled uniform and stumbled to his first sergeant's office. The walk felt like a perp walk. First Sergeant Miller looked up. He didn't look angry. He looked tired. And in that tiredness, Jack saw the full measure of his own failure. "Jack," Miller said, his voice low and steady. Jack couldn't meet his eyes. "First Sergeant, I don't have an excuse." "We're not looking for excuses, son," Miller said. "We're looking for the airman we know is still in there. I've seen this ghost walking around in your uniform for 6 months. It's time to let the real Jack Harris come back." A tear traced a path through the grime on Jack's cheek. "Pride is a hell of a thing, Jack," Miller continued, his voice softening. "It can make you stand tall, or it can keep you from asking for help. Your pride got you this far. Now it's trying to kill you. Let it go." The words dismantled him. The rigid, by-the-book airman crumbled, and what was left was a scared, tired young man. He nodded, a choked sob escaping his throat. Jack checked himself into rehab. It was a different kind of barracks, filled with hollowed-out eyes like his own. The journey was agonizing. He had to dissect the man he'd become and confront the pain he'd been trying to drown. There were nights he wanted to quit, to find the familiar, numbing embrace of the bottle. But he remembered the look in First Sergeant Miller's eyes, not disappointment, but hope. A belief in a version of himself he could no longer see. Weeks later, Jack stood tall in a freshly pressed uniform. The airman's creed felt different on his tongue. The words, "I am an American airman," were no longer just a recitation. They were a hard-won truth, a promise he had almost broken but had fought to reclaim. The road ahead was still long, paved with the constant vigilance of recovery. But Jack Harris was no longer just a by-the-book man. He was something more resilient, more human. He was a man who had been lost in the dark and was now, step by painful step, finding his way back into the light.